Hi there, welcome back to TDCatTech. Today I'm with the Hero9 Black Edition. This is the latest GoPro. It came out like a year ago, but I've only had it 2 weeks, so it's still the latest one as far as their current lineup is concerned. And I want to talk to you about the things I don't like on this product. So I'm not really going to focus on the things I like today, because I often think that when people are looking at the videos, a video such as this, if you've arrived at this video, there's a good chance you've probably convinced yourself of the reasons that you want to buy this. You know about the good things. You know what this can do. Otherwise, why would you be buying it? But there are sometimes just little niggles and little problems that maybe people don't point out, and GoPro certainly aren't going to point out, that might annoy you and they might not. So if you hear a list like this, you can just kind of go check, check, check. You can check them all off and say, don't care about any of those. Great, I'll go ahead and buy it. Hopefully using the affiliate link that I'll put down in the description. Anyway, let's get started. As of whatever edition, the GoPro is now fully waterproof just in its default case. So just like this, it is waterproof down to 10 meters. And that, obviously, for many people is a huge bonus, right? I mean, it's great, isn't it? Well, it is, but it depends what you're using it for. There are very few occasions when I need that personally. And with my Hero 3, because do consider I'm coming from Hero 3 technology here, I'm coming from 2012 technology, I never had a problem. I never do have a problem putting my Hero 3 in a case when I know it's going to need it. But all I've lost on this is easy access to stuff. If I want to charge this, I've got to physically open this door. And okay, it's not that difficult to do. I can just pull it open like this. But if this breaks, and if I just slip or, I don't know, just over time, if this gets looser and looser, well, firstly, it wouldn't be waterproof anymore. And secondly, it's just, well, it's a major part to break, isn't it? The battery is exposed, the internals of the camera. It's just kind of useless. So there are two main things that you need access to. You need to open this door to get access to. Firstly, just to charge it. And secondly, to be able to get your media out, to get the micro SD card here out, because I guarantee you're not going to want to use the app. You're not going to want to use wireless transfer on this. 5 gig transfer is reasonably quick, but with the kind of files that this is creating, if you're using 100 megabit per second, 4K 60p, or even 5K, I'm not sure why you'd want to use that, but fair enough, those files get big, and by far the best way to transfer them is by either hooking this up and potentially doing it as using MTP, so actually transferring, this becomes a drive on your system, or just take the card out and stick it in a reader, because that's going to be the quickest way by far. But to do all that stuff, you've got to open up the door and play around and take stuff out. They've taken away stuff that we used to have, right? I mean, used to have an HDMI out. I've got an HDMI out on my Hero 3. I don't have that anymore. I've got to buy an additional accessory now to get HDMI out. That's a shame. I've got to have an additional accessory to have permanent access to a USB port and to be able to charge it permanently. I can't just put this in my car, plug in a USB. I suppose I could. Is it safe to just plug that like that? The battery is completely loose in the side. I'm not too sure. Touchscreens are okay. They're okay. I'm actually more of a button person. I like to physically press buttons to get things done. Touchscreens are great, and I have no problem using them on a phone. And when something's clearly as optimized as that, the touchscreen on the GoPro is okay. They've improved it with firmware, and it's become more sensitive, and it's just become more accurate. But when I was using this, and during the last week or so, I've just got into situations where I've been out and actually using the camera, and I've needed to change something, and my God, it's a pain to start scrolling through. And what happens if you're wearing gloves? I mean, heaven's sake, what are the chances that you might actually be wearing gloves when using an action camera? Probably quite high, yeah? Well, that's no good. You can't do anything on the touchscreen with gloves on. The Hero 3 was a pain to set up. You had to kind of look at the little screen and scroll through stuff, and then kind of it really confusing. But once you got used to it, once you got used to where you needed to go to find the stuff, it worked perfectly fine. And you could get it. It was all positive presses. Beep, 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 beep. And just, you just went on like that pretty much. With this touchscreen, there's so many things that you just press and you're like, oh, I didn't mean to press that. And you go back. Anyway, I can just carry on complaining, can't I? But the touchscreen, just don't like it. The battery life, it feels like it's bad to me. You've got a camera here that's getting incredibly warm, so clearly generating a lot of heat, which is going to require power. You're powering 2 screens, which can be timed to go off after a certain amount of time, but the screens are really useful. But the actual battery is draining really fast. I mean, you can charge this. You just feel like you're needing to charge this all the time. I find myself down, you've charged it up to 100%. You just put it on and you're just setting up a couple of things and it's just been sat there. It hasn't actually filmed anything yet. And you're down at kind of 95%. You're thinking, oh my God, this is really dropping too quickly. They cannot stick to their core, right? GoPro, when they did things like the Hero 3, they were good at action cameras, right? They knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were making. And now they've got to add bits and pieces just to kind of cater for this and that and the other and squeeze it into this segment and squeeze it into this segment. And I can understand that. They want to sell more cameras, right? But this has got like a webcam feature. And I tried it the other day. Complete garbage. It crashed the camera on the first attempt. And I mean crashed it to the point where I had to physically remove the battery and put it back in to get the camera to do anything at all. Features are good. New features are good. No problem. Hyper smooth. What an amazing addition to the GoPro lineup. What an absolute fantastic addition. Revolutionized action camera stabilization and action camera footage. But things that make the camera unstable, features that make the camera unstable, forget about them. Don't bother with them. Don't include anything that can make a camera unstable. This camera, sat in front of me, this one, will never crash. I can have this on 24 hours a day, this camera. Nothing crashes. It just works all the time. That's what this has to do. People are going to use this on the default settings. GoPro color, oversaturated and oversharp. Flat, well, it's okay, I suppose. And the actual detail is probably not as good as I was expecting. I can use a camera from 2016 that looks better than this and doesn't cost that much more. So, yeah, not quite as good as I'd hoped. Why do you need 5K at 30p? High frame rates on action cameras, fantastic. That is a welcome addition. Bump up those frame rates. Give us 4K 60. Give us 4K 120 if you want, because that matters. Time resolution matters. Actual image resolution, not so much, I don't think. 5K, unless it's 5K 60, I just don't think it's necessary. And I don't think just don't need it at all. It seems to me that GoPro have gone away from their core of doing just quality, solid action cameras and just tried to squeeze themselves into too many areas that, to be honest, they're just not that good at. The 9, compared to the 3, feels more like a toy. Strange to say that, really, but to me it does. When I use it, it feels more like I'm using a toy camera versus using just a camera that's just going to work and just going to do that job for me. Quite a few good additions to the camera, but quite a few bad points too. I hope you found that useful. If you did, put a comment down below. If you can think of anything else, if you think that what I've said is totally unfair, put that down below too. But thanks very much for watching. I'll see you again soon.